High blood pressure, often referred to as the silent killer, has earned its nickname for a reason. The insidious nature of this condition lies in its asymptomatic progression. Many older adults develop it gradually and unnoticed until a serious incident, such as a stroke or heart attack, occurs. But even more dangerous is how easily the habits that contribute to its development can go unnoticed. Daily decisions about diet, physical activity, and stress management have a much greater impact on blood pressure than one might think. Many people over 50 seem to be doing all the right things, taking medication, visiting doctors regularly, and trying to lead an active lifestyle. However, small but significant mistakes may be lurking in their daily routines, habits that seem harmless but steadily raise blood pressure or reduce the effectiveness of treatment. If these mistakes are not identified in time, they will continue to negatively affect the heart, brain, and entire circulatory system. That's why it's so important to understand this issue. The goal is not to overwhelm with complex medical terminology or to reproach for wrong actions, but to shed light on the most common mistakes that older adults make regarding their blood pressure and to offer simple, practical solutions that can make a difference. Whether someone has been struggling with hypertension for a long time or is just beginning to pay attention to their numbers, it's important to have guidance that helps regain control over their health by offering achievable, inspiring, and sensible strategies. Managing blood pressure is not just about controlling the numbers on the monitor. It's about staying active, thinking clearly, sleeping well, and enjoying life with confidence. And the first step toward that is recognizing what to avoid and what to do instead. Let's delve into the first common blood pressure mistake to start building a solid foundation for heart health by implementing smart habits one by one. So what is this mistake that can undo all the efforts to maintain health? The answer to this question may hold the key to a long and active life. A common mistake that can undo efforts to control blood pressure is non-adherence to medication regimens. Pharmaceuticals are certainly a powerful weapon in the arsenal of health maintenance tools, but their effectiveness depends directly on strict adherence to a doctor's prescriptions. Unfortunately, it is not uncommon for elderly patients to forget to take their medication, take it at the wrong time, or stop treatment altogether without consulting a specialist first. Such seemingly minor deviations from the treatment plan can have serious long-term consequences. The reasons for this behavior are varied. Some patients suffer from forgetfulness, while others, feeling better, decide that they no longer need medication. Still others fear side effects or do not want to become dependent on pills. Some, seeking to save money, split pills in half or take them every other day. And while the motives behind these decisions may be understandable, they are fraught with unpredictable fluctuations in blood pressure, which puts additional strain on the heart and increases the risk of stroke, kidney failure, or heart failure. It is important to understand that blood pressure medications are tailored to each patient, taking into account the individual characteristics of their body. Their task is not just to lower the numbers on the monitor, but to provide comprehensive protection for the cardiovascular system. Irregular medication can trigger sudden spikes in blood pressure, which, although not initially felt, gradually damage the arteries and negatively affect vital organs. The lack of obvious symptoms can lead to a person not realizing the seriousness of the situation until a critical moment. It should be remembered that the effects of blood pressure regulating drugs are often not accompanied by a feeling of immediate improvement in well-being. This can create a false impression of their insignificance. However, behind the scenes, they perform an important job, reducing the load on the heart, improving blood circulation, and preventing the development of dangerous complications. Fortunately, there is the possibility of completely preventing this error. The primary task is to turn taking medications into a consistent habit, not a random event. It is recommended to take them at a specific time each day, using various reminders such as pill organizers, alarms, or daily checklists. If you miss a dose, it is strongly advised not to double the next dose without first consulting a doctor. You should seek professional advice for appropriate recommendations. Any side effects should be reported immediately. Often there are alternative medications or adjusted dosages that can improve well-being without compromising heart health. It is important to note that stopping blood pressure medication solely based on normal readings is not justified. This may indicate the effectiveness of the treatment, not the need to discontinue it. Consult a doctor before making any changes, even minor ones. Slight adjustments to the timing or dosage can impact the effectiveness of the medication. In addition, it is advisable to discuss the availability of medications with your doctor. Many older adults facing financial difficulties try to stretch their prescriptions, but often there are generics, discounts, or assistance programs that can ease the financial burden. Health deserves discussion. Managing blood pressure is a long-term commitment that provides energy, stability, and peace of mind. It all starts with consistency. One pill, one day, one decision at a time. The heart relies on adherence to the chosen course, and the future depends on it. Another common mistake is consuming hidden sodium. Even if a person does not use the salt shaker at every meal, it does not mean they are avoiding sodium. A significant portion of the salt in an older adult's diet does not come from added salt, but is hidden inside the foods consumed daily. A common mistake in controlling blood pressure is underestimating the amount of sodium ingested through food. High sodium intake is directly linked to high blood pressure. Salt causes fluid retention in the body, which increases the volume of blood in the vessels and puts additional pressure on the artery walls. Over time, this leads to wear and tear on the heart and can trigger a stroke, heart attack, kidney damage, or other serious health problems. However, because the consequences are not always obvious, they are easy to ignore and forget where the salt is hiding. Hidden sodium lurks in unexpected places: packaged foods, canned soups, various sauces, frozen dinners, bread, and deli meats. Even products marketed as healthy, such as low-fat salad dressings or whole-grain crackers, can contain significant amounts of sodium. Sodium is added not only to enhance flavor, but also to increase the shelf life of products. Many items advertised as light, diet, or heart-healthy are often high in salt, which allows them to stay fresh and appealing to consumers for longer. If such products become a staple of the diet, sodium consumption can gradually increase to dangerous levels. This problem is particularly acute for older adults. With age, the kidneys lose their efficiency in filtering sodium, and the body becomes more susceptible to its negative effects. Even moderate sodium consumption can lead to a significant increase in blood pressure, which was not observed at a younger age. In addition, fluid retention increases, which can exacerbate conditions such as leg swelling or congestive heart failure. The first step to solving this problem is to recognize its existence. It is necessary to carefully study the information on product labels, paying attention not only to calories and fat content, but also to the amount of sodium. Consumers will be surprised to discover where this element is hiding. One serving of canned soup can contain more than half of the recommended daily sodium intake. Even a slice of bread or a serving of cereal, when consumed regularly, can make a significant contribution to overall consumption. Whenever possible, choose products with low sodium content, less than 140 milligrams per serving, or those to which no salt has been added at all. There are also practical techniques to reduce sodium consumption. For example, it is recommended to rinse canned beans and vegetables to remove excess salt. It is better to choose fresh or frozen products without added sauces. Cooking at home allows you to control the composition of the ingredients. To add flavor to dishes, you can use herbs, spices, lemon juice, vinegar, garlic, or pepper, while avoiding adding salt. Over time, consumers will find that such dietary changes are not only beneficial for heart health, but also improve the taste of food. Retraining your taste buds takes time. If you've been accustomed to salty foods for years, low-sodium options may seem bland. However, over time, your taste preferences will change, and you'll start to better appreciate the natural flavors of food. It's quite possible that highly salted dishes will start to seem too intense or even unpleasant. Reducing sodium intake doesn't mean giving up pleasure. It's a choice for better health, protecting your heart, and living a more fulfilling life. Every bite becomes a step towards balance, and every meal is an opportunity to satisfy not only hunger, but also the desire for well-being. The third common mistake that poses a risk to health is inconsistent blood pressure monitoring. Blood pressure is a treacherous indicator, often showing no noticeable symptoms until it reaches critical levels or triggers serious complications. It's this stealth that makes it so deceptive. A person may lead a normal life, feel quite satisfied, and even energetic, while their blood pressure gradually increases. One of the most frequent and risky oversights among older adults is neglecting regular blood pressure measurements, limiting monitoring to occasional visits to the doctor once a year. The absence of constant monitoring leads to minor fluctuations going unnoticed, and yet these seemingly small changes can have serious consequences. The reality is that blood pressure fluctuates constantly throughout the day, reacting to a wide range of factors, from stress levels and sleep quality to diet and physical activity. A single measurement in the doctor's office, even if it shows ideal values, cannot give a comprehensive picture. Moreover, in some cases, clinical indicators may be distorted, elevated due to anxiety, or lowered if the day was good. That's why home blood pressure monitoring is such an effective tool. It allows you to get a fuller picture of blood pressure dynamics over a long period. This understanding can play a crucial role in preserving health and life. When a person doesn't track their blood pressure, they miss valuable signals. Perhaps the medications have stopped working properly. Perhaps a new eating habit or a stressful factor is starting to have a negative impact. Perhaps a dietary supplement included in the daily diet is interacting with prescribed medications. Without regular measurements, a person remains unaware of these changes. And when it comes to heart health, relying on guesswork is unacceptable. Regular blood pressure monitoring at home is one of the simplest and most effective habits you can develop. It allows you to identify patterns, detect pressure spikes in a timely manner, and provide your doctor with the necessary data to make informed decisions. In addition, it helps a person take responsibility for their health, actively participating in the process of improving it, rather than simply passively waiting for examination results. Controlling blood pressure doesn't require complex devices or deep medical knowledge. Modern home blood pressure monitors, which are affordable and easy to use, often feature large, easy-to-read displays and built-in memory. The main key to success in this matter is consistency and regularity. You should choose a specific time of day, such as morning or early evening, and take measurements daily at the same hour. Before measuring, sit quietly for 5 minutes, comfortably placing your arm on the table and placing both feet flat on the floor. It's important to remain silent during the procedure. Daily adherence to these simple rules will allow you to get an objective picture of how your body is functioning. It's also important to keep a diary of measurements, whether in paper form or using a special application, and provide it to your doctor at each appointment. Such a journal significantly increases the productivity of visits to the doctor, allowing the specialist to quickly identify changes, adjust the dosage of medications, or detect alarming signs in a timely manner before they develop into serious health problems. Some people avoid regular blood pressure monitoring because of fear of possible results. They worry that high numbers will cause stress and anxiety. However, it should be remembered that ignoring the problem is not a solution. It only gives potential threats more time to develop. Recognizing the problem is the first step towards solving it, and in the case of blood pressure, early diagnosis plays a key role. Measuring blood pressure is not just a formality, but an ongoing dialogue with your own body. And, like any constructive conversation, it is most effective with a regular, calm, and attentive approach. It is necessary to make this procedure a part of everyday life, turn it into a habit, and, most importantly, make it a priority, since future health directly depends on the decisions made today. Another common mistake is uncontrolled stress. Stress is not just an emotional state, it is a factor that has a direct impact on physical health. And while high blood pressure is often associated with poor diet or lack of physical activity, chronic unresolved stress is one of the most underestimated risk factors. For older adults, uncontrolled stress is a mistake that not only negatively affects mood and sleep, but also subtly but steadily raises blood pressure day after day. Stressful situations trigger an immediate fight-or-flight response in the body, causing the release of a cascade of hormones, such as adrenaline and cortisol. These chemical compounds, like conductors of an orchestra, temporarily increase blood pressure by constricting blood vessels and increasing heart rate. This reaction is a normal response of the body to a short-term irritant. However, when stress turns into a daily routine, rather than an occasional episode, the body begins to permanently be in a state of high alert. The arteries remain constricted, as if squeezed by a vice. The heart works to wear, like an engine constantly running at maximum speed. And over time, this relentless tension creates damage that is not always correctable even with medication. The greatest danger is that stress is often masked, hiding in plain sight. It does not always manifest in the form of panic attacks or violent outbursts of anger. Sometimes it manifests itself subtly, as a slight tension in the shoulders, tightness in the chest, restless sleep, or a barely perceptible feeling of depression. And since many older people are raised in the spirit of needing to cope with difficulties on their own and maintain a semblance of strength, they tend to underestimate such feelings or ignore them altogether. However, ignoring stress does not make it disappear. On the contrary, it only gives it more time to take root in the body, depleting vital energy, reducing patience, and imperceptibly increasing blood pressure. Fortunately, managing stress does not require drastic changes in life or expensive treatments. It begins with small, conscious actions aimed at calming the nervous system and restoring inner balance. For example, deep breathing helps to slow the heart rate and relax blood vessels, like a soft breeze calming a raging sea. Light physical exercises such as walking, yoga, or stretching relieve muscle tension and stimulate the production of endorphins, happiness hormones that lift the mood. Peaceful time spent in nature, listening to favorite music, or expressing gratitude through journaling or prayer can also switch the body from stress mode to a state of rest. Even a simple conversation with a close friend or the opportunity to share your experiences can ease the mental burden. The main secret of success lies in forming a habit of daily self-care and stress management. It is important not only to react to stressful situations when they have already arisen, but to create routine procedures that provide the mind and body with the opportunity to relax and recover. Imagine this as brushing your teeth. It is done not only when something hurts, but to prevent problems from arising at all. And if you have lived in uncontrolled stress for a long time, be kind to yourself. It's not about self-flagellation, but about recognizing the opportunity to make changes and taking small steps in the right direction. You don't have to try to fix everything at once, but when you start making time for peace, for reflection, for self-care, your body responds with gratitude. This manifests itself not only in improved mood, but also in normalization of blood pressure, improved sleep, digestion, and a general feeling of peace. Stress can be an invisible enemy, but its consequences are quite palpable, and the power to manage it is always within our reach. One deep breath, one leisurely walk, one moment of silence at a time. The fifth common mistake in the fight against hypertension is neglecting physical activity. In matters of blood pressure control, inaction can be as harmful as incorrect action. One of the most frequently overlooked yet critically important mistakes is insufficient attention to physical exercise in old age. In other words, excessive indulgence in a sedentary lifestyle and the belief that rest is a universal solution can exacerbate the problem. Undoubtedly, rest is important, but a lack of movement can gradually and imperceptibly raise blood pressure, forcing the heart to work with excessive strain. Regular physical activity helps normalize blood pressure and strengthen the heart muscle. A strengthened heart pumps a larger volume of blood with less effort, reducing the load on the arteries and maintaining healthy indicators. Physical exercises also stimulate blood circulation, reduce inflammatory processes, promote weight control, and reduce stress levels, all of which are key factors for maintaining cardiovascular health. However, when movement is excluded from daily life, the body begins to lose its efficiency. Muscles weaken, blood circulation slows down, and the pressure in the blood vessels gradually increases. Often, the problem lies not in the lack of motivation, but in uncertainty. Concerns related to joint pain, fatigue, or fear of falling can make the idea of physical exercise unattractive. However, physical activity does not necessarily have to be exhausting to be beneficial. Even moderate, but regular movements can have a positive impact. A daily walk, morning exercises, or light exercises on a chair in front of the television can stimulate the heart and improve blood circulation. One of the most effective changes that can be made to one's lifestyle is to reduce the amount of time spent sitting. If you enjoy watching television or reading for long periods, try to get up every 30-60 minutes. March in place for a minute, walk to the kitchen, do a few shoulder rotations, or tap your toes. These short periods of activity throughout the day help break up long periods of inactivity, which can negatively affect the condition of the arteries and increase blood pressure over time. The importance of movement for maintaining cardiovascular health cannot be underestimated. Regular physical activity tells the heart, blood vessels, and brain that a person continues to live a full life, remains active and strong. Over time, this signal is strengthened and becomes a reality. The key is to choose activities that bring pleasure. This could be dancing, gardening, water aerobics, or even a simple morning exercise in the sun. If physical exercises are perceived as a pleasant pastime, then the likelihood of their regular performance increases significantly. Gradually, this turns into a habit, and the body begins to thrive. If you have doubts about choosing suitable exercises, it is recommended to consult a doctor or physical therapist. Specialists will help you choose safe and effective types of activity, taking into account your health status and physical capabilities. It is important to remember that the goal is not to achieve athletic results, but to maintain independence, balance, and provide the necessary support for the heart for many years. Ignoring physical activity may seem harmless, but over time it has a negative impact on the heart and blood vessels. Movement is medicine, and every step brings you closer to lowering blood pressure and strengthening self-confidence. Another common mistake, especially among older adults with high blood pressure, is the abuse of caffeine or alcohol. A morning cup of coffee or a glass of wine with dinner are familiar elements of everyday life that, in moderation, can bring pleasure. However, excessive consumption of these substances can imperceptibly raise blood pressure, interact with medications, and create additional health problems. Caffeine, found in coffee, tea, carbonated and energy drinks, as well as in chocolate, is a stimulant that narrows blood vessels and increases heart rate, which can temporarily raise blood pressure. In some people, this effect is insignificant and short-lived, but in others, especially those who suffer from hypertension or increased sensitivity to stimulants, even a small dose of caffeine can lead to a dangerous increase in blood pressure. The complexity lies in the fact that the reaction to caffeine is individual. Some older adults can enjoy a daily cup of coffee without problems, while others may experience pressure surges that last for hours, and the person may not even be aware of it. The cornerstone of achieving success in maintaining health is a deep understanding of one's own body. People who regularly consume caffeine should carefully monitor their body's reactions. It is recommended to measure blood pressure before and after consuming a morning cup of coffee or an afternoon soda. If a consistent trend of elevated readings or symptoms such as headaches, nervousness, or rapid heartbeat are observed, it may be time to reduce caffeine consumption or switch to decaffeinated beverages. There is no need to completely abandon familiar rituals, just make conscious adjustments to support cardiovascular health. Alcohol presents a different problem. In moderate amounts, it can promote relaxation and reduce tension at the end of the day. However, consuming alcohol in large doses or on a regular basis leads to increased blood pressure and can significantly reduce the effectiveness of medications used to treat hypertension. In addition, alcohol contributes to dehydration, poor sleep quality, weight gain, and increased emotional stress, all of which have a negative impact on blood pressure. In older adults whose bodies process alcohol more slowly, these effects may be more pronounced and prolonged. Regular consumption of more than one alcoholic beverage per day can shift the balance from occasional pleasure to chronic health risk. Combining alcohol with medications intended to lower blood pressure can cause a number of side effects, including dizziness, confusion, and increased stress on the liver. These risks increase when taking other medications simultaneously, which is common in older adults managing multiple conditions. The positive side is that moderation, or even a slight reduction in caffeine or alcohol consumption, can have a noticeable positive impact on health. Reducing the intake of these substances can lead to lower blood pressure readings, improved sleep quality, stabilized energy levels, and increased concentration. In some cases, reducing caffeine and alcohol consumption may even reduce the need for additional medication. Giving up the addiction to coffee or wine does not mean living a life of deprivation. There is a whole range of delightful and heart-healthy alternatives that can provide just as much enjoyment. Why not treat yourself to a cup of fragrant herbal tea, whether it's gentle chamomile, refreshing mint, or exotic rooibos? Warm water with lemon can be a great start to the day, and homemade sparkling water with fresh fruits and herbs is an exquisite drink for any occasion. These simple substitutions can offer the desired ritual and relaxation, but without the unwanted side effects. Ultimately, it's not about self-limitation, but about making informed choices. Understanding how caffeine and alcohol affect the body makes it possible to make balanced decisions that support not only blood pressure, but also overall well-being and quality of life. The heart does not demand impossible perfection. It only asks for care. And every step towards balance is a confident step towards a stronger and more resilient self. Mistake number 7 is neglecting communication with doctors. In the fight against high blood pressure, having a reliable support system is just as important as taking prescribed medications or following a diet. And the key link in this system is the attending physician. Unfortunately, one of the most common and preventable mistakes older adults make is failing to maintain an open line of communication with their doctor or medical team. Whether it's missing scheduled appointments, withholding worrying symptoms, or the unfounded belief that everything is fine, the lack of honest and regular dialogue can lead to missed opportunities and missed warning signs. It's easy to be tempted to simply renew prescriptions and show up for annual checkups. However, blood pressure is not a static constant, but a dynamic indicator subject to fluctuations depending on stress levels, physical activity, sleep quality, diet, other medications, and even the time of year. If the doctor does not have complete information about the patient's well-being and the changes taking place in their life, they are forced to work with an incomplete picture, which may make it difficult to identify problems in a timely manner or accurately adjust treatment. Many older adults feel hesitant to express their concerns, fearing they may appear difficult, invite judgment, or simply bother the doctor. However, it should be remembered that any health problem deserves attention. Whether it's an unusual dizzy spell, a side effect a patient has been trying to ignore, a new dietary supplement, or recent changes in routine, all of this information helps the doctor keep the care plan safe and effective. One of the most frequently overlooked issues in healthcare is medication side effects. It is not uncommon for patients to independently discontinue prescribed medications due to unpleasant sensations without informing their healthcare provider. Such behavior can lead to uncontrolled high blood pressure and, in more serious cases, the development of severe complications. A brief conversation with a doctor can lead to an adjustment in dosage, a change in medication, or lifestyle modifications, which can have a significant positive impact on the patient's condition. It is important that self-measured blood pressure data taken at home also becomes part of the communication with the doctor. It is recommended to provide the doctor with a log of measurements during appointments or share them through an online patient portal if available. By analyzing trends rather than isolated readings, the doctor can better understand what is effective and what is not. If inconsistent measurement results are identified, the specialist can help determine the causes. Mental and emotional well-being also play a significant role in maintaining normal blood pressure. Stress, loneliness, depression, and anxiety can contribute to its increase. A doctor can refer a patient for consultation with a psychologist, to support groups, or to community programs aimed at improving mental health. If visiting a clinic is difficult due to mobility issues, remote location, or transportation problems, you should inquire about the possibility of receiving medical care through telemedicine. Currently, many medical facilities offer virtual consultations, which allows you to stay in touch with your doctor from the comfort of your own home. Effective communication with a doctor does not require lengthy conversations, just honesty and openness. The doctor is the patient's partner in health matters, not a judge. The more information they receive, the better they can adjust treatment. Do not postpone contacting a doctor until the next scheduled appointment. If any problems arise, if you have doubts about blood pressure readings, side effects, or changes in lifestyle, you should seek medical attention in a timely manner. Health is not an individual project, but the result of collaboration between the patient and the doctor. Maintaining an open dialogue is one of the most sensible and simple ways to protect your blood pressure and future health. Controlling high blood pressure should not cause feelings of depression. It does not require leading a perfect lifestyle, adhering to an endless list of restrictions, or constant worry. The main thing is to be aware of the importance of daily habits, the signals that the body sends, and the power that each person has to shape their health by making informed decisions. Blood pressure is not just a number. It is a reflection of how the body lives, breathes, rests, moves, and reacts to the environment. It is important to remember the most common mistakes that often go unnoticed and know how to avoid them. From understanding the action of the medications you take to controlling sodium intake, maintaining physical activity, managing stress, communicating with your doctor, and making informed decisions about caffeine and alcohol consumption. These are all manageable, realistic changes that do not require a radical restructuring of life, but only call for a more attentive and conscious attitude to your health.